Guys, it's Tark again with Cyclone 3D, and as the last videos have been talking about, this is the new Cyclone, the Diablo 220 Rhino Racing Quad. This is one of my custom quads that I made, designed and made. It's one heck of a quad, man. I mean, it's fast, it's powerful, and so I'm putting some videos together on the steps I do when I'm putting a quad together and using the different components. So one of the videos before this was cutting the carbon fiber that you see here. The other one was preparing the FrSky XSR for the receiver for the installation. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to discuss with you, I'm going to put this down, and I'm going to discuss with you the setup of the HDLRC F3 V4 Pro. Now, most of you know that I use the F4 V5 Pro, which is the newer board, obviously, but I love this board right here, and I got a great deal on a bunch of them, and so I decided to go ahead and pick them up, and I'm going to start using them in my builds. There's a couple features I like about it. Let me explain to you real quickly. The first one is what the F4 V5 Pro does not have, for example, is this switch. This is an on-off switch for the VTX, and I'll see if I can get this camera. I don't have the best focusing on this thing, but anyways, there's a switch right here. I think you can see that. That switch turns VTX on and off. Now, the other, the F4 V5 Pro, you could turn it off by pressing the button, and it's basically a button that allows you to change, your channels or what have you. And then if you hold it down long enough, you can turn it off. It's just kind of cumbersome to do that. Being able to just flip this and turn it off, it's great if you're trying to do some work like I do, and you don't want your VTX on while you're doing it. You don't want it heating up. You don't want to put the antenna on. I like that feature a lot. The second thing that I really like is the antenna connection on here is really flat. It's that flat connection that is kind of like the FrSky X8R or what have you, with the little round flat spot, versus the F4 V5 Pro it's kind of a standoff. It sits up about, I don't know, maybe about 4 millimeters or so, which adds quite a bit of height, especially because it's on the opposite end of their VTX chips. So the heat is going one way and the antenna's on the other side, and so you've got this kind of gap. The V5 Pro is an awesome board though, but this is going to be covering the F3 V4 Pro. I'm going to show you a few things on how I hooked it up. So again, what I'm going to do is the same thing like I did on my last video. I'm just going to flip the screen around and show you the video that I recorded. This video is like 40 minutes. I'm going to fast forward through a ton of it, but I just want to cover the basics because I have a feeling some of y'all may have some questions if you have this board or are thinking about it. So let me show you. All right, so here it is right now, and a couple things that I didn't show you is the soldering, and I think I have this on video. It'll come up later, but I have actually, underneath here is the Racer Star 35 amp 4-in-1 ESC, and I've actually put the battery connection here and then soldered up to here the rest. And the reason being is this board down here has everything built in. There's no capacitors needed. It's already got everything done to it, and so therefore I prefer to have the power come in there and come out clean, and that's what I got up to here. So I could have put it up here, but with the design and everything, I preferred it this method. So what you're going to see me doing here is you're going to see me connecting the buzzer here. You're going to see me connecting the camera here. So you've got your ground, your 5-volt, and then your camera, your signal. You've got your buzzers here, your positive and negative. You have your motors, 1, 2, this is 4, and 3 is going to be over here. So it's kind of weird because the way they have this board set, they have it aiming, you can see the arrow going this way. So I have it turned, which means I have to remember to set, in Betaflight, you have to set that to a negative 90. And I think if I can switch this screen over, let me see if I can do that and show you what I've got here. But I'll show it to you in just a little bit. Let me get rid of these text messages. So, and here's that antenna connection I was talking about. The other cool thing about this is nothing really needs to be plugged into this using their connectors, except, let me see on this one. There's actually, you've got one here. We won't use it. You've got the USB here. And next to the USB, which you can't see under here, is under these pads is another connection, and we don't use that either. So it's really cool because if you look at this, if you look at the quad, and I don't know if I can, let's see if the camera can get in there, and let me see if I can get this flashlight to kind of shine some light in here. Okay, so I don't know if you can see that, but you've got the USB right there, and then to the other side of it, you've got one plug, which we don't use, and then you've got another one, I believe, right there, which we don't use. So what's going to end up happening is everything's just going to be soldered, hardwired to the board, which is awesome. I prefer that 100%. Anyways, I'm going to get started with this and press play and just get buzzing through this. So I'm showing you guys here basically what we're going to be using, where the plugs are on this board, on the pamphlet that comes with it. So let me get to fast forwarding a little bit and show you. The first thing is, this is the XSR that in the last video I showed you I've already done the job on. Now I'm trimming the wires to make them the length that they need to be, and then I'm going to strip them and tin them. And so let me get to that point here. Okay, and I'm putting my flux on. So what you can see though is this board is small enough. It's going to fit actually right under here. So you've got the XSR is going to fit in right above that X right there, and then the board's going to go over it. So let me get that in there, and that's how I can figure out how I need my wires, how big I need the wires to be. So let me kind of get going here, and here's where they're going to be tin, and then I'll show you what I'm going to do with them. So it is important that we are going to solder these wires. There's my double-sided tape, by the way. If you want to see how it's going to go on just like this. And I'm going to double-side it down. And then I always put a zip tie around it. That's why there's this X here. So that'll stay there, and then I'll put a zip tie. And I think this video will show you the zip tie that I'm doing. It's pretty solid in there right now as it is. And I don't know if I put the zip tie in. I'm pretty sure I do, but let me just kind of get, here goes the zip tie here real quick so you can kind of get an idea of what I'm doing with this. Grabbing, it's not easy, and I had cut my finger really, really bad here trying to open something. I just put a new razor blade on the knife. So anyways, let me kind of speed through that and get to, here's where you can see the zip tie. Let me see, and it'll be right about here. So you see I get it right there. It doesn't affect any of the components. Now I'm just pulling it to tighten it, and then we're going to be good to go. So that's the way that's going to look, and that'll hold very nicely in place. All right, so anyways, now moving on, I'm going to fasten the board down so I can get an idea of what I need to do here. And here we go. None of this is important until I get to about right here. So there's the ESC, right? And I'm showing you right now that you can see, if you look, sorry, let me see if I can pause this. Okay, so the important thing to show you here is the gap it took. So this is an 8mm spacer, right? So I've got all the ESCs. This is a soldering I've done on this earlier, and there's a video on that. But the most important thing I want you to see is this is your binding button right here. And that is plenty of room to go ahead and bind. And obviously, you know the power has to be plugged in, but the piece above is just your heatsink or your shield on your VTX of the board. So you can fit ample space in here to bind this, and that's exactly why I did it like that. So, and that's why I'm showing you this. So we're going to get to where we're going to solder now these cables together, and we should be starting. Let me see, where am I at? We're going to start with the ground. Now I've already pre-soldered the pads, and so let's see if I can get this for you here. And I'm trying to do this so the camera. It's very difficult to make sure I don't get in front of the camera. But hopefully I can get this for you. And I've had the shakes a lot recently. I don't know why. But I realized that I wanted to straighten this up a little bit more because I had not glued down. And this is something very important. I forgot to put some hot glue here to hold these. I like to do that because these will always break off or have problems. So I went ahead and stopped real quick and put that back on. And so now that that's done, I'm going to go ahead and fasten this back down and get back to soldering. And let's see where we're at. All right, so here we go with the first one. So we're going to go ahead and put the ground right here. And so let me go ahead and get that going. Hopefully the camera picks it up. I know I'm trying to figure out how to make it so where you can see it. All right, so we've got the ground, and it was okay. I mean, it took well. And then we're going to go ahead and put the 5-volt positive right here. Okay, and again, I apologize about the shakes. I'm not used to having a camera in front of me while I'm doing it, and I wasn't feeling well. So this whole angle that I'm holding everything at is kind of awkward to me, but it should be, let me see. me fast forward. Okay, so we've got the positive. This really only should take about a second to touch and solder, but just like I said, I just kind of had an awkward angle here. But the next thing I'm putting on, this is your S bus right here. Okay, so on the F3 V4 Pro, you've got ground, you've got your 5-volt, and then right here you're going to be doing your S bus. Now, if you're running anything other than S bus, there's definitely different connections. I could show you on how to do it, but this is where the S bus is going to go. Now, here's where there is a little bit of a change from what I'm about to show you. This is the telemetry. That yellow one is the telemetry, and I was actually going to try to attach it right there. Problem is that interferes with the board when you hook up the USB. Didn't realize that, so I'm all proud of the fact that I'm doing this. And then as you'll see here, I went ahead and connected it and soldered the wires down and used the heat shrink, heat tubing, and so you'll see that here in just a second. But what you don't see in the video is that by the time this was done, I had realized what the problem was and disconnected this. So these actually were taken out, and that's why I'm not using a plug on this side. But I wanted you to see the process that I would normally have done in case you do get a quad from me and you want to see what it's like. And if this volume will disappear, I'll move it here. The pads to actually solder the TX and RX for your telemetry, oh, now my hand's in the way, are right here. And so it was pretty simple. I just moved the wires over to here and then soldered them on that side. But you're going to see here. So I'm measuring out the heat shrink, the tubing, and I should be able to get this done here pretty quickly. And that's that. So we're going to go ahead and touch those and get them together. And again, my hand is in the way. I gotta do better about this setup. But in either case, this is pretty much done. It's a pretty solid connection right there. I'm going to go ahead and move it up just a little bit to get a little bit more together. And then here's my tubing right here, and you'll see me here in just a second. Let me see, where did it go? Here it goes. And then we'll go ahead and bring out the heat gun and make it very tight and fit very well. And then usually what I do when it's pretty hot and I'm done using the heat gun, I'll put my fingers on it and just pinch it so that I definitely make sure it comes together. And that will take care of the XSR. So just to go back over it, you've got negative, positive, S bus, and then you've got telemetry. But again, the telemetry was run to here. It's actually going to go under here to these two pins. And I'm going to turn this camera around and show you. So initially, I had it coming out of this connection. And then what I did, and I'm pointing it actually on the video, I think it's wrong here. Let me show you. So instead of using here, I went to the GPS because I'm not using GPS. So your TX and your RX are actually right here, right there, okay? And so on the XSR, you're going to use the telemetry, the one cable, the yellow cable, and you're going to combine it to both TX and RX on the F3 V4 Pro. So it's a half duplex connection each way, and so therefore you combine it to both of them. One wire, 2 pins, you're done, and you get your telemetry going. So let me flip this around and then see where we're at. And I think that pretty much will do it for this. So now the question is, on this one, this is just tucking away the wire, and then I think now, what am I doing? Let's see what I got. Okay, so I think right now I'm going to get the camera ready. And again, I have to maneuver this thing away so I can at least get a comfortable reach on the camera. But here's your camera points right here. And so, again, I'm going to go ahead and put some flux on there and get going with it. Let me see if does this help at all? There we go. I'm going to do it this way. This will be much easier. I see. Okay, so the step I'm actually using first is going to be the getting the camera and also the motors wired to the ESC. So I'm going to go ahead and do those pads real quick. And then let's see, what do we start with first? I think that will wrap it up. All right, so that's going to wrap it up. So I guess the video that you guys are going to be looking at right now, that video is just on hooking up the FrSky XSR to the F3 V4 Pro. I hope this is helping. I don't know if that was put together properly or not. I'm trying a couple different things. But if you have any questions, you can shoot me an email at cyclone3dservices@gmail.com, or go to cyclone3d.com, or post your question after this video. But the next video is coming up. We're going to show you the ESC connecting to the F3 and the camera connected to the F3. And there's a couple other videos after that. Appreciate you guys very much, and I will see you soon. Thank you.